Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer met with the local media jackals on Monday after a weekend that had a lot of storylines going on and also had a 53-man cutdowns. Zimmer had a pretty short press conference, but there are some interesting things to talk about. On Harrison Smith's mega extension, Gessling Strip, go. Mike Zimmer and the Vikings had long negotiations with Harrison Smith, whom he called one of the best safeties I've ever had, and that includes a lot of players. Zimmer also added he embodies everything we try to do here. And yeah, it's easy to see why Mike Zimmer's really got attached to Harrison Smith, one of the best safeties in NFL history. Don't at me at all. And also a guy who just shows up for work every day, doesn't complain, leads by example, and just goes about his work. And Harrison Smith really is a bit of a craftsman as opposed to an athlete. Like, he does treat his profession like a trade, and I've always loved that about Harrison. I think he still has 2 to 3 years of elite football left in him, maybe a couple more years on the back end where he's much more about his knowledge as opposed to his physical prowess on the back end, just really leading by example. So I'm fired up to see what Harrison does on the back end of this defense. Whereas last year, remember, it was all the rookies, all the young players, and Harrison was kind of babysitting everyone. But now with veterans in the building, with Patrick Peterson, with Breland, with Mac Alexander back, I think it's going to be a great, really fun season. On Irv's mystery meniscus, Courtney Cronin, ESPN, go. Mike Zimmer said Irv Smith will have surgery on his meniscus injury he sustained versus Kansas City by team doc, Dr. Larson. Doesn't know how long he'll be out for, was asked about 2 timetables, 4-ish weeks or 6 to 8 months. Great. Said he hadn't heard about the 6 to 8 month timetable. So meniscuses can be tricky, where you don't really know until you get in there. Is it a minor tear that just needs a trim, or do you need a full-on replacement? So yeah, this one is really going to be TBD. And it's fine where people are saying is like, oh, Irv is going to be back after 4 weeks. No big deal. No big problem. Well, we don't even know what the problem is yet, right? So how can you make a prognosis? Like I said, I think if we see Irv before week 8, week 9, I think we're extremely lucky at that point. But we'll see. We'll see. And like they mentioned, we do have to carry Irv on the 53-man roster through Wednesday, so you can't just IR him now if you hope to get him back later on in the season and try to free up a roster spot. So, on tight end depth, Courtney Cronin, also of ESPN, go. Zimmer said the Vikings will be on the look to potentially add another tight end because their depth is not good right now. Hey, if you're Brandon Dillon or Zach Davidson, you're like, no, so Tyler Gronklin should be back from a hamstring injury soon. So Monday, when I asked about Gronklin, he just finished walkthrough for what it's worth. And yeah, we pointed out the Vikings maybe should be checking out the trade market. Zach Ertz and Njoku, OJ Howard, of course, is out there. Also, there's a handful of free agents currently on the market, plus a bunch are going to go through waivers pretty soon. So yeah, I'm not saying that the Vikings need to bring in a tight end one, because I think Gronklin certainly can fill that role, but depth, especially since the Vikings do use multiple tight ends more than any team in the league, and I don't think that Clint Kubiak is going to change things up too much from Gary. Although the fact that there's such a stark drop-off in depth, maybe the Vikings do start using more 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, especially on passing downs. Would like to see it. Would absolutely like to see it. Speaking of Gronklin, Thomason, go. Vikings tight end Tyler Gronklin has wrapping off his injured hamstring, so all indications are he could be doing some practicing this week. He went through the walkthrough. Good news for the Vikings with Irv Smith Jr. hurt. And Gronklin suffered what appeared to be a pretty serious hamstring injury about 2 weeks ago. They've been treating him with kid gloves, and hopefully he's going to be revved up and ready to go. Also, speaking of kid gloves, on Anthony Barr's availability week 1, Chad Graff, go. Optimism is growing that Anthony Barr may return for week 1 from his undisclosed injury. Mike Zimmer said he's doing really good. And I know Barr is a bit polarizing amongst the fan base, but the defense is better with 55 out there, with the captain, with the green dot, with the guy that gets them lined up and makes the defensive play calls. He is important to be out there. Plus, with so many damn injuries flying around all over the place, can we at least have the starters in there? Like Anthony Barr, it's a little bit weird. Like, we don't know exactly what's been going on. It's been very cryptic in terms of the messaging from Zimmer. Oh, it's not a tweak. Oh, he'll be fine. Oh, it's not related to the pack. Blah 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 blah. But we'll see. We'll see. Once 53-man rosters are processed on Wednesday, if Anthony Barr remains on the 53-man roster as opposed to being tossed down to injured reserve with the hopes of bringing him back later on in the year, then okay. If he starts practicing in earnest this week or next week ahead of Cincinnati, then we'll be like, okay. We'll see. But yeah, not off to a great start. We haven't even started games account yet, but Beer thoughts and our thoughts. Mike Zimmer's press conference talked about a lot of things and stuff and blah, blah, blah. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support that work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.